Cignal have not played a series yet, so we haven't really seen them too much. So just judging by this draft, they're already looking great. Just a matter of just performing. Should all work out for them. The Reality Rift are going to be quite desperate to get some points on the board for themselves because they are currently tied in last place with Alpha that we just saw in the last series. And so we'll get into it. See how it all pans out. They did show some promise in the last series as well. Suppose I'm kind of intrigued as well to see how well Alacrity does on this Invoker. I mean, I imagine he must do pretty well considering his name's Alacrity. But
I believe, yeah, it's something he's been playing for a long time, if I recall right. I want to say, of course, Alacrity has been in the scene for a very long time. So it should be one of his, I'd say, comfort heroes, but I just can't verify because that's from a very long time ago, at the very least, in my memory.
bot lane. Hustler, nice toss back on the Undying, though he'll be happy to decay up, although no, never mind, Treant's around. Grims is actually losing a lot of HP right now. There's double Treants here, and Grims, well, he's lost most of his HP. One more right click could do it, but they needed a bit more than that. That one decay that he did manage to get off does save his life. But at this point, you'd rather just die and respawn, come back into the lane, and that's exactly what might happen.
Oh, that's rough. This is not how you want to start your lane off as the Undying. You want to drain your mana, not your HP. So when you go for the reset, you're going to be back in. You can spam your spells out once more. And that's a rough opening for Cignal, although it shouldn't cost them as much as it looks like they will trade evenly on the runes.
Yep, certainly do. Of course, I should apologize, John. I did forget the overlay, the draft overlay on during the game that just started. So my apologies for that overlay. Fortunately, it did slip my mind, but it's gone now. Everything's fine. Nobody panic.
Oh.
Anyway.
It happens.
It does happen. And you know what else happens, John? Grims had to walk all the way back to the fountain.
That's the walk of shame right there. You didn't get to die. There would be no point in you dying because your mana is full, so you have to walk back. You have to think about what you've done. TP back in. Now, the laning duo of Sand King... Oh no, he's actually going up top. The laning trio of Undying +2 can be potent. The issue is the EXP spread is going to be abysmal.
Sure is. Not really sure why you bother with this tri lane. Like, they seem to be really prioritizing making sure Luck does not get any farm on this Troll Warlord. And I suppose it does also secure Nando's farm, but still at the same time, you're up against an Abaddon Troll. Like, Troll doesn't mind last hitting from a range. I mean, it's not what he prefers, but he'll do it if he has to. And you've got Nuts, who just miscalls until he's dead. So I'm not really sure if there's really a point to this from the side of Cignal.
It's a rough one. I don't think you have the greatest laning duo with Lifestealer. I think Lifestealer Lina is much stronger together. I'd say the Sand King plus Undying would actually be quite potent if you played it right, but it looks like they're happy enough to just give Van that solo EXP.
I mean, it is great for a Sand King, right? Like, it's not a bad thing whatsoever, and you know, once you have that Sandstorm, you just make sure you keep a sentry on you, and you can essentially just stay in the lane constantly. I still question it though. Is a Hustler gonna just annoy him a bit, not give him a chance to get that D ward off. Van, he will Sandstorm up, but again, they do have the sentry already there, and now the Avalanche comes out. Van, in fact, that's his own sentry right now that he's used, and well, he runs out of it, assuming they knew. Oh my.
I think they actually did. It was a cross, yeah.
Are you sure it reached?
Yeah, he was right here. Like, somewhere here, he was walking into this area. That's why Nature's Prophet was right-clicking. KYXY was getting a couple of right-clicks off.
A fair point. Of course, back in mid lane, Alacrity falling quite low, but as well as that, Leshrac not having as great at the time either. Tornado will come out from Alacrity, and Cold Snap as well. Jamesy could end up dying. Does the right-click hit? Well, it doesn't really commit with the cold snap. Fortunately, the cold snap duration just ended up wearing off. But that does put James in a bit of an awkward situation because he doesn't really have any regen available, and I believe the courier is currently being sent up top. Meanwhile, Eris, top lane, could be in trouble as Nuts is chasing, though he does Fairy Fire up. Now Nuts is the one getting low, but the blind is there from Luck, and now the LSA, they surely find Nuts. And they do. Once the blind wears off, Nando does take the kill on the Lifestealer. And I suppose if you can keep doing that over and over again, this tri-lane will eventually just be worth it in the end. It's just a matter of continuing to get it.
The issue is EXP gain is never going to be good, even if you find these kills. Like the Undying Grims is just not going to progress as fast as you'd want. And right now you also have the Luna Sport walking back home. They're still level 1. Eris is still stuck at level 1, and that just limits the effectivity of the support.
Well, Van almost finds Hustler, but could die for his trouble. Is KYXY gonna find another one?
Oh man.
And I mean, we talked about the Sand King and how he loves solo XP, but not if he's dying. It's
yeah.
This is not the kind of XP we were talking about.
No, you can't underestimate the right-click damage of a Nature's Prophet with early phase boots and a Blightstone now. So that the harass he's pumping out earlier is just going to be worse. Van can't find that sentry, and that's causing him all these early deaths. There's just so many good sentries coming out from RR right now that KYXY is just always protected.
Well, looks like Cignal are going to continue running this tri-lane, though. They don't really care that Van's suffering. Jamesy almost goes down, but Alacrity misses uphill, and that will save Jamesy's life. Bit unfortunate there for Alacrity, but at the very least he does force the TP back. Meanwhile, Grimm's top lane should end up going down, though no, he just tanks up with the decay and keeps running off. Eris ends up finding a kill on Nuts, but they will find Grimm's in the end, and now Luck wants to find more. Eris will just be able to run away, and it looks like Hustler just wants to go after the bounty, but Nando has already found it, and now Hustler might be in trouble. He does have Avalanche Toss available, though. Tosses back into Luck. Still in trouble, though. Nando's going to continue this chase and does have open wounds now, and he will commit it straight away, and with that, Hustler will lose his life. That's going to be 2 kills now to Nando on the Lifestealer, and he's continuing to free farm in this offlane.
Yeah, it's a pretty even story so far in terms of kills at the very least. I think the one deciding factor with how these trades are going is that mid lane. This is one lane where you see a clear winner. It's definitely Alacrity. He's having a good time against Jamesy. So the side lanes, one team's winning on one, the other team's winning the other. But the mid lane is deciding here. And having an Invoker who gets a good start like this could be a bit worrisome for Cignal.
They force out the Troll Warlord up at the top lane as well. Now Nuts just might be dead. He has a Fighting Shield, he has Miscoil. LSA does not connect, he Fairy Fires up, he does not want to die. And well, he miscalls, but it doesn't matter. Eris finds the kill anyway. And he's going to have to take the walk back. He just TP'd up top. And you know, I questioned this tri-lane initially, John, we both did, but it's worked out very well. And at this point, this lifesteal is becoming somewhat uncontrollable. In fact, with his phase boots, he can just continue to harass out the troll out of the lane.
Yeah, this is remarkable laning from Cignal. I'd say you've shut down the troll quite well. He's 10-1 at 6 minutes in, compared to the Lifestealers 35-18. That is pretty miserable for Luck. He's not gonna have a good time. He's gonna have to play recovery for a while. And with the aggression coming out from Cignal's lineup, I don't know how safe that is.
Luck again going to cop more harassment as Nando and Grimm's just getting to work. Nature's Prophet ultimate comes out, though Nuts copping damage. Nando forced to rage up as KYXY will come in to try and go after this Lifestealer, but there's a Soul Rip coming in to heal him up. Now Avalanche is there on Eris. They're still fine though, Grims. He's pretty darn tanky. He has another decay, he'll use it. He'll probably end up dying, but he'll be more than happy to save that Lifestealer. And well, I say that, Alacrity actually ends up finding him up the top lane. And now Eris actually blocks him his way in and TP's out. Hustler, Avalanche will be on point, and now the creep surround is there. Eris, you are stuck, sir. Or maybe not. Hustler's stuck. Hustler?
Creeps.
Eris?
Oh, there you go.
He's wasting a fair bit of time here. He does end up eventually getting killed off by Hustler. I suppose it's not too bad of a deal for the side of RR because it's just the supports that we're chasing anyway. Did you happen to spot out how Alacrity got there so quick though for the lifestealer?
Unfortunately, no. I think he was just in position for a rotation anyway, so they did manage to have him around for that kill. And again, he's had a good time down mid. He can afford to leave that lane every now and again.
Well, they found Grims again. Avalanche toss. Back into the troll, will get the kill. KYXY back in with the TP, and now Nando trying to cut his way out of the tree line. It looks like he'll be okay, but this tier 1 tower certainly will not be. Van TPing in, but he may be TPing into his death. Do they have detection? They do not. And so he will actually defend the tower with just the Veil of Discord and the Sandstorm.
Yeah, that's some good work coming out from Van. Just understanding that he could punish that move, and they do successfully do so. That does free up that bot lane once again for KYXY to farm up though, and he is getting big. He's working towards his Orchid. His timing on that item should be fairly quick. And that's going to be worrisome. He's going to be jumping all around the map, silencing people up, and you have no option to counterplay that right now as Cignal.
Mid lane. Eris gets caught out. Looks like Alacrity there with the setup with the Tornado Cold Snap. Make it a 4-8 now. Alacrity doing a pretty darn good job already.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom
So
tower
RR
is under attack.
going around the map, trying to find more kills if they can. Doesn't really change the fact that the Lifestealer still has had a pretty nice time, but one thing that is going very, very well is KYXY and the Nature's Prophet, who's really out farming everybody by about 700 gold at this point, and these Nature's Prophets, they tend to hit super hard later on if they get this much farm.
Definitely. And again, he's going to hit that good timing on the Orchid. Once that's up, he's just going to be so much more effective around the map. He already is. But having that silence on just really puts a massive spanner in the works for Cignal's game plan. That could even cause issues for Jamesy as well. He's not even close to his heals yet.
That's a very big concern.
Is under attack.
Jamesy has had a pretty rough time though in the mid lane. Like, you look at Alacrity, he's a full level ahead. And he only stands to gain even more as he is going for that Midas build. That Quas Wex build will allow him to team fight very early on with the team, as he has been. Still could be a little bit concerning up against the Lifestealer, but once that rage is worn off, he's just a sitting duck now. This bot lane, we have a bit of a tri lane going on from the side of RR. But it looks like the supports will leave Luck be down the bot lane. Meanwhile, mid though, Grims will not be so lucky as Alacrity will find another kill on the Voker, and he will also find a tombstone for himself, and he'll continue pursuing that mid tier 1 tower. With KYXY there, it becomes a hell of a lot easier. And RR, they're really just, I mean, they're taking towers pretty darn quick, and I thought Cignal Ultra was doing well early on. Apparently not.
Yeah, this is a bit concerning for Cignal. You want this lineup they have to win out in that early aggression. You have that Undying, who once again is really effective in that early game. They're going to lose areas as well down mid. Alacrity is just making work all across the map.
Yeah. Tornado EMP into the Cold Snap and earn. It's as simple as that. Now almost level 11 on the Invoker. Has enough money just about for the full Midas. This is probably why you don't allow a guy named Alacrity to pick Invoker. I mean, we'll see how it pans out later on, as, you know, there is still farm going on here for Nando on that Lifestealer, but he is now behind the Invoker as well as that Prophet. Looking back to KYXY, he now just needs an Orchid recipe.
The biggest concern I have for Cignal right now is that we're seeing Nando go for that Radiance build, and it really depends on his timing. If he's going to get it before 20 minutes, it's going to be really good. But if he's going to be slowed down, you're not going to see it have as much of an impact as you'd like. So Cignal, they've got to get this guy as much farm as they can in a short time span to maximize that power spike from the Radiance.
Jamesy again. Alacrity will not leave him be. This is just a complete outlane here. I mean, he's just returning into the mid lane trying to farm. And Alacrity's making it look like he's still level 1.
This can't be sustained. You can't afford to give Alacrity all these kills. He's rushing into his Ags already at this point in the game. He's not even going for anything in between. And that is going to be a massive power spike for him. It's going to enable him to find even more solo pickoffs across different heroes, which it's already fairly easy for him. And again, you look at KYXY, he's got his full Orchid flying out now.
Uh-oh.
So anywhere he jumps into, he's going to find that kill no matter what. Pretty much.
I mean, that Yules isn't even close to being completed on the left track. The Lifestealer as well, once you silence him up, really has no way out of it. And they're going straight away. Nando, he's going to be the first target of this Orchid. There it is. Cold Snap as well into the EMP. Nando is gone.
Just like that. Just with a really quick item pickup from KYXY, they managed to find these big kills on the biggest target they can slow down. Again, the Radiance timing is going to be key for this Lifestealer. Every single death is going to slow that down just a bit. They translate to towers quite fast. RR has had a really good grip on this early game.
Jamesy, don't want to be there right now. Alacrity, he will TP out. Looks like top lane, Van. Sandstorming, though Alacrity is chasing with Hustler. Avalanche is available, though he doesn't throw it out quite yet, but here comes KYXY. Silence, tossing Alacrity. Cold Snap is there with the EMP, and he is gone. And this is just reminding me of the Smurfs I have to play against in my pubs, John. It's very depressing.
That is a bit mean, Mike, but I can't disagree. This is styling on from Reality Rift. They are making this work quite well. This is a very different story from their first series of the day against TNC. They are really showing us what they can do against, I'd say, evenly paired teams. Although it's definitely not seemingly even right now. But Cignal, they've got a lot they've got to buy time for. Nando,
they don't get quite enough damage yet on Nando, though. There's the ultimate popping in, and now Luck's there on the troll.
Yeah, unfortunate, but
Jamesy, he found Hustler at least. Does actually have the Yules up now as well, so he's got a way out of this. So Jamesy is slowly but surely catching up. But mid lane, Eris, Alacrity has taken claim to this mid lane. I don't think anyone from the Radiant can step inside anymore.
But then, who is?
yeah, you really shouldn't step down there anymore at this point. I mean, Alacrity's gotten way too much. He's 2 parts away from his Ags. And then once that's up, you're really going to be having trouble. As you mentioned, Jamesy with that Yule should be able to find a few more kills on his own and avoid any ganks from KYXY.
Oh, Alacrity.
That's... Oh.
How dare you. He avoids the burrow thanks to the Yules off the left track, and now the EMP comes in. They don't go for the fight, though. Not quite anyway. He's thinking about going back in. He leaves them be, and they will do the exact same. They'll just leave that be. But there is a 5k net worth lead for the side of RR. Dota Plus currently thinks 83% chance that the Dire win this round. I suppose it just still hangs on Nando on that Lifestealer to get up that Radiance ASAP, and he is getting fairly close to that Sacred Relic. The thing is, though, I don't think it's going to be as fast as you would have hoped at 20 minutes, John. It may just be a slight bit later.
Yeah, it ideally within the next, I want to say 3 minutes is when you'd want it up. And then you've really got to apply the pressure with it. You can't just AFK farm. You've got to find a couple of objectives off the map. Perhaps that mid tower really open up the map for you on Cignal's side. But if they can't translate any of this farm to objectives, it's going to stagnate a bit.
Well, Hustler, make it caught out. Oh, nice blink with a nice dodge on the blink. Jamesy will use him up, Split Earth will connect as well. And this should be a very easy pick though. Alacrity's here, Avalanche toss is there, EMP as well. Jamesy's falling solo, and there's the tornado. Alacrity probably going to pick up a double. In fact, no, KYXY will take the other. Eris moving forward as if he's going to be able to do something here, John. I don't think that's a smart idea. Alacrity keep moving forward. Nice LSA, Eris. Does he have Laguna? Yeah, he does. It's just not enough damage.
This is really not going the way of Cignal right now. On the bright side, all of this movement is buying space for Nando. So he has his Sacred Relic up. It should be a very fast way towards that recipe. And as long as he's untouched, you have a way back in for Cignal. The issue is you're losing F activity on your support Undying. This was my biggest concern with this pick. It's that if he doesn't have a good laning phase, it takes a while for him to be relevant again, especially since he's not going to be itemizing anyway. His kit just falls apart.
Bot lane, KYXY getting caught out. They really want to burst him down. It looks like they just may, although no, they weren't able to save him in time. Alacrity now could be in trouble. He's copying a lot of damage. Laguna copped as well. Nice tornado. Ghost walk away.
What?
Where's the detection? Oh, he runs into the tier 2. Alacrity, no! Now, the avalanche is there from Hustler. Toss in as well. The tree throw. What the hell is RR doing?
What? What? You just feed an 8-time streak like that. You feed out your Tiny as well. And you feed a 4-time streak from KYXY. That is so much gold that you've thrown back the way of Cignal now. You've given so much to Jamesy. He got 1.5k out of that. He finishes up his travels. He can match KYXY split push now.
Well, that's not good. Or at least it's not good for the side of RR, but Cignal Ultra slowly making their way back into this game. They will try and push in that bot tier 1 tower now. KYXY is there to try and defend this. Throws up the Nature's Wrath, and it looks like he will be able to solo defend, at least for now. Cignal Ultra won't be too interested in this. We'll back off to safety.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
In fact, RR, are they going to just try and make another play on the side of Cignal Ultra? I imagine if they keep pushing in bot lane like this, it could be very dangerous for them. The only difference is, though, Van now has his blink up on the Sand King. So he does have that counter initiation available, and there's the Radiance as well coming out on Nando. They'll take the tier 1, and they'll back off to safety once again.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, I like this play coming out from Cignal. They're starting to clear out the map just a bit. Hopefully now that Nando does have his Radiance, he is going to be joining these fights in a while. I think that's going to be the key thing. That's going to be the surprise factor here, as Reality, they've been happy letting Look farm up, and he's being chased down for that now.
Certainly is. Yule's connect, though. Silence is there from KYXY. They stop the split earth, but the Burrow Strike Epi is there. Luck. KYXY also going down, and now they'll go straight after Hustler. Though Hustler will be able to walk out. There was no Burrow Strike available. And so a 2-for-2 trade, essentially, but Reality Rift, I mean, they went from dominating that really, really early game to now kind of throwing it all the way, although Nando does rage up in time. He's got to man-fight this. Hustler, Aphotic Shield will save him. Now Nando infests and run away. Yeah, they're literally going to leave him?
Dire's middle
When he's got teammates around, I suppose.
Dire's
And yeah, he'll get away.
are fortified.
That was a really costly BKB reveal from Reality Rift. That was the 10-second BKB of KYXY, and it just nets him his own death. So that's a massive tool wasted. Again, you're bleeding a lot of gold back to Cignal. Cignal is starting to find a foothold back in. I like seeing Nando being in front. That's exactly what he needed to do.
Dire's middle tower
And
has fallen.
now Cignal can take the fight to Reality. It's going to be a rough time as their lead really starts to close in. Just a 2k lead now, 11-20 at 21 minutes in. You do have the Ags up on Alacrity, but he still needs a bit of levels to get that Exhort up.
Well, it looks like that's exactly what he's going to focus on. It's back into that jungle. Up those levels.
Radiant's top tower
It's just crazy how it's all panned out. Cignal Ultra, though, they just had faith in Nando to keep farming up. Of course, Jamesy, with that triple cooldown at bot lane about 5 minutes ago, just turning it all around. He's going to have a BKB up in just a moment as well, especially after this creep wave. And suddenly, once that BKB's up, you look at this Nature's Prophet, and I mean, KYXY with that Orchid, not really going to be as scary. Though he is also about to get a Nullifier. He does need to buy the Sacred Relic, but once he's got that, then he doesn't care for BKBs either.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive power spike for KYXY. Basically, mini Doom coming out from him once he uses those two items on one person. So look to see that being the next moment when R is going to be feeling much more
Jamesy,
confident again.
split earth straight onto Nuts. The Phonic Shield will be up. KYXY, he BKBs up. Jamesy does the same. Straight after Hustle they go. They want this Tiny down, and that is exactly what they will get. Meanwhile, The Lifestealer, he is actually fighting KYXY on the Nature's Prophet, and it looks like he goes to the TP, but it will not work out in their favor. The buyback is there, though, from the Tiny Hustler. Wants to come back in. Van, Epicenter, where's he going with this, though? He'll go straight after Luck. Jamesy, Split Earth, it does connect onto Luck, and it looks like Luck probably will die, though. No, Hustler jumps in, Avalanche Toss. He'll try and turn it around, but Nando is still pretty darn healthy. The problem is Van is not, and Van will end up going down to Luck. Now Alacrity, though, being chased down by Nando, and he's gone. There's the toss from Hustler. Nando's falling low. Grims is still around the area and has Soul Rip, but it's not going to do enough. He doesn't get it off in time, and Luck suddenly found a triple kill. In fact, it may be an Ultra in just a moment, as Hustler will toss him up. Grims, they're fighting back. James, he comes back in. There's the Ultra, but then they'll take it straight back. James, he'll take the Troll down, and now Hustler will go down as well. A crazy team fight. James, he just comes and cleans up at the end. I would suppose you'd call that an RR win, but it looks like Cignal Ultra got way more gold out of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a win for Cignal this time around. They got all the gold they'd want. Suddenly you see a Leshrac at level 21 with so much gold in the bank that he finishes up his BKB. A while ago, he's working towards that Chivas now. And Jamesy is suddenly a massive issue in these fights. I want to point out something that really bugged me. KYXY went in, popped his BKB, ran around, and then locked himself in to try to TP out and died. I just don't understand how that can happen. After such a good start, he popped his BKB, walked around, and sprouted himself and died.
There's something worse than that, John. The Invoker, level 18, Leshrac, level 21, almost 22.
Yeah, it's that bounce back, right? It's that rubber banding back. It's not as intense, but those were a lot of big kills that Jamesy was around for. So he gets to really benefit from that. And again, he's just one item away from his Chivas.
Nuts. Trying to go for the bounty. He's going to end up paying for it, although we'll pop the borrowed time, but they'll just use that off. Stun him up and he is dead. Another kill for Jamesy, and was that actually his level 22? Well, not quite, but he only needs a couple creeps to get level 22 now. So Cignal Ultra are seemingly in complete control of this game. And you look at that win probability, it was sitting at around 80-something% the way of the Dire, but suddenly Cignal Ultra are in the lead by 55%. So, RR, they do find a bot tier 2. They will jump in. Jamesy going straight after Alacrity, doesn't quite find the stun. And RR looks like they'll be able to get out of there though. Van looking for a Blink Burrow Strike opportunity. Alacrity may actually try and turn this around.
Is under attack.
Grims gonna be spotted, but it's not the target you want. Misses Eris with the Tornado. It looks like that'll be the end of that.
No, there's the smoke from RR. They want more.
Fair enough. Why not? The Leshrac isn't with the team, so it's not a bad time, but he has boots travel available. Nando currently by himself in the mid lane. They did spot him running to that tree line, and KYXY will just confirm that. Meanwhile, the rest of RR are kind of really looping around the area, just trying to get a real nice pick at Nando, and they do find him now. Can they burst him in time, though? No, he actually gets away. He has no mana, but he does regen up with the stick, and now Luck pops the BKB. Sunstrike will actually find Nando in the Roshan pit. They'll get the Tombstone as well, but KYXY, he's in trouble. He'll go after Jamesy now. Jamesy TPs, but no Hustler. He found him with the Avalanche Toss, and Jamesy now will give a lot more gold back to the way of Hustler on the Tiny. And it's just such a back and forth this game. But, I mean, you'd think Cignal Ultra would be in the lead just judging by the past team fights that have happened. Apparently not.
You can't underestimate the power of Reality Rift as well. They scale quite nicely. They've got pretty good farm on their cores. And, you know, Alacrity still does work. Even if he floundered a couple of times, he still is a massive factor in these fights. And you are starting to see Reality Rift start to bounce back in, although KYX... Oh, okay, no.
Eris is caught out, ends up going down top lane, and now, mid lane, force out those buybacks. There are 3 buybacks available, they just don't want to use them though. Eris will That's not enough to force them back, surely. You still have the Aegis on Luck. Alacrity, Epicenter, Burrow Strike missed, and Luck. Well, that'll be enough. Still though, you got the tier 3 tower now, so all those shrines are opened up to you. You also forced out that buyback from Elise. And RR, I mean, I suppose you'd say they're in the driver's seat again.
Definitely are. You should have the Nullifier coming out onto KYXY sometime soon as well. He does have the gold. So look for that to be coming out, and that should give him a massive power spike back in. Should make him much more scarier to deal with. And there you go. Nullifier's up. Orchid's up. He has a mini Doom at his hands.
Very scary thing to try and play into. I imagine he'll probably be aiming straight at the Leshrac as well. Just get rid of Jamesy and everyone else is really not too much of an issue. Take the stacks as well while you're at it. That is exactly what Luck will do while he's around. So RR, very willing to team fight. Cignal Ultra, not so much. And I'm kind of questioning whether they've kind of lost their momentum in this game and kind of lost their timing with this Lifestealer pickup. I don't think it's quite there yet, but I just don't know if he has the damage to sustain a Troll Warlord once he's hit Battle Trance.
No, not at this moment, not with the items he has right now. Even if he actually reaches that level 25, which is a massive spike for Lifestealers, Rage will not do anything against Troll, not as much as you'd want. And that is something you have to be very wary of.
Mid lane, Grims. Gonna try and run past. Will be successful in doing so. And Blink Dagger now up on KYXY. So feeling like he needs to be able to position himself in these team fights a bit better. And you look to that Troll, he still has the Aegis, but it looks like they're just going to commit that Aegis towards going for that last tier 2 tower up the top lane. It's a bit annoying because the Lifestealer is split pushing with the Mantra Illusions and Radiance, but that KYXY will take care of that. By the time you get to those to that high ground, the Aegis will pretty much just be gone. But Luck now has a Basher as well, so I guess that kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, it's not going to be too scary. Again, he has been getting that Battle Trance off every single time anyway before dying, so should be able to just lifesteal himself back up. Not going to be a massive issue for him. And you have to remember, again, he has so many ways of staying alive. He has nuts around, give him HP and the shield. And that has saved him a couple of times anyway.
Still waiting for this creep wave to get up through the top lane. Cignal just sticking together on the high ground right now, not risking anything. Look at those buyback statuses, and there's a couple there. You don't have one on Eris. Don't have one on the Leshrac either. In fact, he's quite short in terms of gold. So Jamesy, if he drops his team fight, he's just out for it.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
RR though, not actually going to try. They found a Radiant Courier. Hustler, he will find it as well. That's going to be a nice little plate mail gone. And I believe that was actually Nando's plate mail. He was trying to finish that Assault Cuirass off.
Yeah, that's going to be delaying a big item for him, and that's just going to make him much weaker going into these fights for at least around 2.5 minutes. So that's a massive boon for RR, and something they can build off of if they're completely aware of what was inside.
There's that Aegis going. Cignal Ultra really not giving the side of RR an option to try and break their high ground. We saw this before as well with the side of Reality Rift, where they just have a few issues trying to get up that high ground. They tend to play very cautiously when it gets to this point of the game, even if they are very far ahead. And of course, it is fine at the same time, because Cignal could always turn it around, but... Well, Cignal, they'll actually smoke up. So they're going to leave the safety of their high ground. Alacrity, though, will break the smoke with the Ghost Walk. And now Nuts will just keep running for his life. And perhaps RR would be very willing to fight. In fact, Van does sub, finds the Invoker. Now the Infest Bomb is there, though. Alacrity will force stuff out, and he has a regen rune in front of him. He will not get there, though. Nando, though, could be in massive trouble, though. He mantas off. Cataclysm comes in as well. Avalanche shot straight onto Eris. They'll find one. Can they find more? Epicenter is there in the back, but it doesn't do much against the BKB KYXY. Luck finds the Leshrac. There is a buyback now available on him, though. Nullify will come out onto the Sand King. They silence him up as well. He's definitely going down. And so essentially a 3 for 2, I believe. But he will continue to chase after Nando. Does he have Tornado, though? We'll have Cold Snap. Mantis it off, though. And looks like they'll be able to just get out scot-free. RR should be able to find at least one Rax out of this.
Yeah, definitely. Even with that buyback on Van, it's not going to be enough to dissuade him because Epicenter's not up there aware of it. That's still going to be Rax going out. At the very least, the Fortify is also expended.
Hustler jumps in, Tornado and Avalanche at the same time. Now the buyback's coming in from the Leshrac. They're going to find Luck. This looks kind of bad for RR now, as they do want to punish as hard as possible. And they find Alacrity with the Split Earth as well. Alacrity, he'll just be burnt alive, and that'll be a dieback on the Invoker.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of just ruined the initiation for each other as the Avalanche and Tornado came at the same time. The exact same target. Cignal Ultra will successfully defend that mid-Rax.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for RR. That would have been the opening they needed, and now they're going to have a pretty hard time defending without their Invoker. I don't think they're going to be taking any fights for the next minute plus while Alacrity's dead. That does allow Cignal to take at least a tier 2, possibly some chip damage on a tier 3, and losing that courier again, that's the full AC being denied out.
Uh-oh. At very least, they might be able to find a tier 3 and a Rax out of this anyway. The AC would have been pretty helpful in this, though. But Nando, he'll do it the hard way. And so, surprisingly enough, RR's the one that missed out on the first Rax, and Cignal will be the one to pick it up. Can they find more? Not really, as the other tier 2s are available on either side of the lanes. And so everyone just TPs out of their safety. In reality, although they are in the net worth advantage, suddenly I would argue they are behind.
It does feel that way. I think that's down to the fact that a lot of their gold is actually riding on the back of KYXY, and though he hits hard, his utility has definitely died out here, even with the Blood Torn and Nullifier. He can only target one person, which is the major issue. Then you look at Alacrity, they're really riding off the back of his Invoker for the team fights, whereas Cignal, they have a lot going for themselves. They've got Van and the Sand King, they've got Jamesy and the Lesh, they've got Eris on that Lina, and all these heroes do a lot in the team fights, so the responsibility is spread out. Whereas Reality Rift, if Alacrity whiffs, or is forced to expend his spells on one person, that's it.
Alright. Invoker. Roshan. They will find him. So another Roshan will be going to the way of the Dire at the very least. And with luck, he attacks pretty darn quick right now. So Luck will grab it. There is also a cheese available, and he'll take that as well. So we'll see if they can find the trade for that mid-Rax. You'd assume they would be able to. Then again, we assumed that last time as well, and Cignal proved us wrong. Cignal are already in preparation, just waiting this out, waiting for the inevitable to come. As well as that, an Ethereal Blade now popped up from Hustler. So you've got that added burst potential from him. It's this awkward stalemate where Cignal have 1 Rax, RR have none, but they still can't do anything.
It's down to those side lanes still having their tier 2s. It's just not... It just means Cignal can't really capitalize too much. They don't want to go for the all-in on the throne as well, because buybacks were still up and such and such. They do manage to finally finish that Assault Cuirass on Nando, which has been delayed for a very long time. And it looks like he should be able to finish up his Nullifier in a bit as well.
You'll notice a double damage rune down at the bot lane. Wonder who picks that up. Seems pretty darn valuable at this stage of the game. Should be luck to just grab it for himself with the Aegis. Doesn't have a bottle available, so he'll just pick it up. They're going to smoke up, and I assume just rush to the base to take full advantage of that. It's hitting for about 450 damage per right click now. Nobody down at the bot lane for them to pick up, though. They'll wait out the creep wave, and yeah, Lucky just jumps straight in. He wants another tier 3. He wants to force in a Rax. That tier 3 drops so darn quick. Well, they jump in Hustler straight away, but he gets Burrow striked up, and James is just controlling Hustler up, and he's gone. Luck now doesn't want a bar of this. He still has BKB, Aegis, Cheese, everything's available. He just doesn't want to fight. The buyback will be there from Hustler, though. KYXY already popping his BKB charge. Hustler slowly walks his way back up, but I'm not sure if they still take this team fight.
They still have the tools on lock. The issue is they blew everything else, so I'm not too confident about this going up. Everything's still there for Cignal.
Oh, nice Burrow strike set up. EMP is there though from Alacrity. Again, the Battle Trance is still there with the Aegis. Still has Satanic as well. Just waiting for the perfect moment. Luck will just go into range form and get the job done. Nando jumping in, nullifies there though. BKB straight away from Luck. He wants to go for this one. Nando's still healthy though. Epicenter not really going to be there, although no, there's Sandstorm coming in. Chaos Meteor being dropped as well, but it really doesn't land on anything. Luck, Cataclysm, this could be massive. Not quite though, nobody's dead yet. Luck going after the Tombstone, but he loses the Aegis in the process. He held on to the Battle Trance. Still the Tombstone alive. He's going to go after it once again, but no, he can't even finish it off. Now Cignal, they might have a chance to punish him. Yeah, Van jumps in, a massive epic coming out. He just clears 3 of them. The Battle Trance is good, but it's not going to be good enough as Van finds another. And a 4-man wipe happening. Hustler, the only man to get out of there, and he needed to get out because he just committed his buyback. And it just seemed like they played way too cautiously on the side of Reality Rift. They just waited way too long.
They are giving way too much back to Cignal here. They've bled so much space away. You're at the point where the lifesteal now has his +2 seconds rage duration, so that's going to be a massive issue for controlling him with the Invoker. Apparently the Troll just doesn't do enough with what he has, so he's not even that much of a threat to the side of Cignal, and Cignal, they're going to be happy with that. That does allow them to maybe get some space going, at the very least get some more farm up. They're in no position to take the side towers just yet, or the high ground down mid to end, but they've bought themselves so much time. The net worth lead now down to just 5k from RR, 26 to 32 at 42 minutes in. This is probably one of the more even matches we've had today.
Certainly is, John. Reality Rift. It's a bit of an awkward situation for themselves. See what they can do though. Cignal going to run through the bot lane now. There is still that tier 2 tower standing there, so they're just going to try and get rid of that. Start opening up the other lanes for themselves. Thing is though, if they win a team fight right now, I mean it's basically just straight to the tier 4s. There aren't that many buybacks available on the side of Reality Rift. Cignal, they will force the issue. Do they go after the tier 3? They bother going high ground? It looks like they will not risk it.
Yeah, it's a very cautious play coming out here from Cignal, and I can't really blame them. Like, again, this game could still turn on its head. It's pretty tight in terms of at least net worth. Control is still definitely on Cignal's side, but that can just change quite fast. You have to respect the damage that can come out from Reality Rift, respect how fast they can push as well, especially with luck up and running. So you really can't afford to risk it all in a gambit like that.
It's getting to that stage now where the Leshrac gonna go straight after an Octarine core. You're getting to that point where you're gonna have to start getting more than 6 slotted on each of your heroes. KYXY, so farmed up on this profit. Just doesn't seem to translate to much on this map right now.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, tier 2 top tower is going to end up going down as well, so Cignal will get rid of that.
Has fallen. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
We see a smoke now.
Radiant's bottom
Alright.
barracks are under attack.
Everyone's TP down to the bot lane, but they're going to see if they can find some solo pickoff. But no, everyone's gone out of there as well. So Ara will not be able to capitalize off that tier 2 going down up the top lane.
Warriors of the wood.
Bounty.
I suppose they just wait out the next Roshan at this stage, but we're going to find out how long it'll take in the next 5 seconds.
So we're at the point of the game where the cores are pretty much done with farming up, and you start to look at the supports to really get big.
Oh, they're
In
not
this
done yet,
case,
John.
I mean, in this case, you know, there is so much room for the Tiny to grow a bit more. He definitely hasn't been prioritized in terms of farm. Normally you see a damage item coming out and the Ags coming along, even for most support Tinies, but Hustler has been playing much more sacrificially here, and I feel like that costs quite a fair bit from Reality Rift's kit. You want that big hitter now from the Tiny. It allows him to burst down heroes much faster. In Cignal's side, of course, you could say the same thing about Eris. Queued up the Ags next. So once that's up, of course, that's a good amount of damage coming out that eats right through BKBs. I think the one here that really doesn't scale as much at this point, and I don't think we can really expect too much coming out from, except for that level 20 power spike, is Grims. He's definitely not being allowed to farm as much, although he does have 3.3k in the bank. He is saving most of that for buyback, I suppose.
We'll see what Dota Plus thinks.
Radiant's bottom barracks.
We're back at that stage now where it's a 55 to 45%, and it is in the, apparently in the advantage of Cignal. I guess just based off that one rack that they have. Even though they are still behind in terms of net worth, it just doesn't seem to translate to anything for RR. Roshan will be back up in 30 seconds. That could be the deciding factor between these two. Cignal haven't had the pleasure of actually getting a Roshan this game. We'll see if they actually go for a big team fight in that pit once Reality Rift jump in. Meanwhile, KYXY, Daedalus is up on him. Octarine Core is now up on Jamesy. We see a smoke from RR. Is that what they're up to here? I mean, Hustler's got one in the backpack. He's not really taking it out though, so they're just kind of chilling out in the mid lane.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Just a bunch of friends hanging out down mid. I don't see what's wrong with that, Mike. We're 48 minutes in, and can't a couple of guys just hang out down mid?
Must be nice to have friends, John.
Radiant's
Nando gonna find a double damage, pops the rage for that. Roshan is up though, and both teams are aware now.
That's the refresher on the Roche as well. So you do get that free refresh coming up, not the Ags. And that should be a pretty big boon still to whoever picks it up. I think
Lock
Reality Rift would definitely like that.
gets caught out. Battle Trance. No, he didn't pop it. He has buyback available, but this is not the position RR wanted to be in. A great setup there from Cignal. Did not get the trance off in time. And now with that, I mean, you force a buyback just by going to Roshan. Surely, I don't think RR can afford to actually give this away. It's going to go down pretty darn quick with that Bloodthorn up. And yeah, there's the buyback coming out from Luck. But Cignal, they are not going to stop this. They just need to take it now. Though no, apparently they will stop. They back off. Tornado flies through. Tombstone is also quite frustrating to go up against, but now that's down as well. Oh, Nando, Jamesy, jump back in. Cataclysm is massive, but BKB's come out. Now they'll find Hustler. Hustler's down. Aegis is on Jamesy. This is not the team fight that Dire wanted, but the Chaos meter could be massive. But no, the Yule saves the day for Jamesy. He finds another on KYXY. Buybacks flying out left, right, and center with the Epi coming out onto Nuts as well. Nuts, basically the sacrificial lamb. He's just dead, although no. Force Staff is going to save him. The Burrow Strike from Van may cost him his life. It looks like it will. Nullify there as well, but they're going to find a trade in the form of Alacrity, and he goes down now. Buyback from him. Everyone's just buying back into this damn game. But it looks like RR are done with this. They back off to safety. Everyone resets. Jamesy survives with the Aegis. He got the Refresher Shard as well.
Tower is under attack.
I'm not sure who got the cheese.
The seeds of Formaster.
I suppose it doesn't really matter too much who got the cheese, but... No, in fact, it was Hustler on the Tiny who grabbed it.
Yeah, that's still a pretty big win for Cignal. That does swing the net worth lead to their side now as well. 50 minutes in. 3 to 4K net worth lead for them. 30 to 34. And right now you start to wonder, what can Reality Rift do to fix this? Your Invoker is actually not doing as much as you'd want because the BKBs have been on point from Cignal. They just pop them on at the perfect times, breaking that combo, and it costs Reality Rift quite a fair bit because they're riding on the back of this Invoker to get all those spells on. And once he misses, it's just kind of hard to follow up. You have Hustler, sure, who can start things on his own as well, but his follow-up damage is not amazing at this point in the game, and that is the biggest issue here. It's that the farm distribution for RR is much more tied in with their NP than anyone else. You take a look at that network graph right now at this point in the game, it's really on KYXY. He's second place, and then Luke is like 10k behind, 7k gold behind. That's one big item behind. That means there's profit, and at this point, KYXY is just not doing enough to justify this lead.
Doesn't feel that way either. I mean, he's trying his best to get some job done, or get some work done in the fights. It's just... It's hard for him to just sit there and be able to right-click. Top lane, though, going to start being pushed in by Cignal. Now, there is only 2 buybacks available on the board right now. One for the Lifestealer, one for the Leshrac. So RR, every hero they lose is another step closer to losing this first game. Cignal, not willing to risk it either, though. So they'll TP back Jamesy, they'll push out this massive creep wave coming in from KYXY, and that's a lot of gold for Jamesy. And he'll just be able to TP his way back up to the top lane straight afterwards and get back to work. Refresher Shard on the Lina as well. Nullify, Nuts in trouble, but he pops the borrowed time. Still, tossed back into essentially the tier 4s. That's a lot of damage coming out. They burst down the Leshrac. Aegis is gone. Nuts ends up dying to Nando. Chaos Meteor completely whiffed though. Avalanche, Cataclysm, not the greatest. Still Nando falling pretty low. Openwood's committed on Alacrity, but he'll just walk away and the racks will eventually fall. And it looks like Nuts actually just barely got his buyback as he died. And so Cignal, 1 racks away from Megas. This game of split push between Jamesy and KYXY continues.
Look, KYXY is doing a phenomenal job in at least keeping one lane shoved in. This is also coming at the cost of farm for everyone else. The biggest issue, as I've mentioned for a while now, is Hustler and Luck. Luck is not nearly farmed enough. at this point in the game to do the damage he needs to do. He can survive for a long time. He can't really kill anyone off anymore when it comes down to these big team fights. He's working on his Abyssal, but it looks to be a bit away. A fair bit away. Then you look at KYXY, he's pretty much 6-slotted up completely, and his damage output has been focused on shoving that creep wave and maybe tickling a few towers, but it just can't compare to Cignal's power in a 5v5 now.
Get started top lane, or bot lane, excuse me. Nando, Avalanche going to be pretty massive from Hustler, but he may just be dead here. Yeah, in fact, they stun him up. A lot of damage coming out. Luck, he'll pop the BKB, he'll try his best to ward them off, and they will allow Hustler to survive. Now the Tombstone, focus on that, but Nando going after Nuts. In fact, no, he just wants a tier 3 tower, though Nando, half HP now. No buyback, KYXY's gone as well. Nuts is gone, everyone's bloody going down. Alacrity, Burrow striked up, he's down as well, and that's a full team wipe. No buybacks available. I would argue, John, that is GG.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, look, that was a really good turn from RR for most of the game. I'd say the first 25 minutes were definitely RR's game. But Cignal managed to buy time, and it's all off the back of Nando. Once he got his Radiance, he was really active on the map. You also got enough space from your Leshrac to start building up, and they just capitalized in that opening quite well. RR, they kind of faltered in those fights, bled a bit too much space back, and that basically cost them that. So hopefully they correct that issue for game number 2, but Cignal are looking really good going in that game 1.
Surely, yeah, they definitely are. Of course, we'll go into game number 2 very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. It is MLP Dota and Dronix Fire. After a short break, we'll be right back to see how this series finishes off. Won't be too long.